reducing discrimination towards disabled students by increasing school facilitators' learned experiences. So the point of this study is addressing the problem of discrimination placed on disabled students from the various points of view of society, especially by the teachers and administrators. Various literature has shown that the new government regulations have increased laws relating to the categories for disabilities, restricting the individuals as far as what kind of care they can receive and actually what categorizes the disabled individuals. This in terms reduces the care that they receive, providing them with less opportunities and increases the public stigma overall. It also increases, due to the increased stigma and increased medical technologies, many parents have actually increased their desire for the early termination of pregnancy based on their view of unfit characteristics for various things that they term disabilities, because they see these as things that would hinder a child's ability to function in normal everyday life, and they fear that their child would fall under severe discrimination and would have a very difficult time during their life. Other things in the literature that have surfaced are the failure of the healthcare providers themselves to relate to disabled individuals and to advocate for their rights, which has left many to receive improper care. This also translates for this study for the teachers and administrators. A study was done to increase empathy at the healthcare level, and that study was shown to increase the empathy and sensitivity at the healthcare level, which is what this study is based on, to increase the sensitivity and empathy at the administrative level for schools. And disabled individuals actually do begin to feel discrimination from early childhood, because you do begin to notice that other children start to issue stereotypes towards them, towards you as outsiders and outcasts, and they start to label disabled students as strange. So the goals of this study would be to increase the sensitivity and awareness in teachers and administrators so that these stigmas are lessened or altogether erased from as early an age as possible towards disabled students. The approach for this study is a grounded theory, as the theory would develop over time as analysis and data is collected, and the perspective of the participants would progressively change over their intake of the videos and such. The design would be broken up into two phases. The first would be the collection of individual stories of disabled students, their perspectives and experiences from ages 5 to 18, this general school age. This would include parental consent and student assent as well. This would include video recordings, and they would be compiled collectively over time. They would be comprised of the schools that would be sampled, and then they would be shown during phase 2, which would be consistent of the teachers and administrators who would be sampled and then there would be a course which would be designed to gauge the initial and exit views on disabled students. The sampling would consist of 4 selected region districts: Alvord, Riverside, Orange, and Inland School Districts. The teachers would be selected randomly by blind number drawings, or each teacher would be assigned a number and then placed into a bowl and selected from each district and then grouped together per grade. And the administrators would be chosen in a similar manner. The exceptions would be, as far as principals, each school would have the represented principal, no exceptions, and only a random selection for a principal would be considered if more than one principal is at a school. Data collection would consist of collecting quizzes during the course process, with assessment of quizzes being taken at the beginning with an entrance quiz, and then quizzes after each video. Videos would be about 10 minutes, approximately 1 to 2 interviews in length, and they would test such things as their view of basic definitions, reasonable accommodations, things such as that. These would also follow with group discussions to answer questions from original quizzes and possible group activities to solidify their views and beliefs. There would also be an exit quiz, which would contain the same as all of the other quiz questions, although there would be an additional question, which would be: how has your view and understanding of individuals with disabilities changed? The coding for this study would comprise of the quiz questions, viewing the recurring themes based on the grounded theory, and codes would aid in the forming of the conclusions, whether the concept was successful or not, and data would be analyzed through categorical breakdown of themes ran through the SPSS programming. Validity can be tested by using double negative questions, and the exit question would be crucial as a check of validity. Validity could further be tested by using an outside expert panel, and this expert panel would be blind as to the question, the study basis, and the participants themselves. Reliability would be questionable based on the education field faculty, as they might be more prone to give the desired or politically correct answers rather than truthful ones. However, group activities may be a good way to check if reliability has increased or not. Researcher assumptions are that the videos and discussions will increase sensitivity towards disabled people, and the experimental bias is that manipulation of human emotions can be achieved through study outcomes. However, participation bias are things such as measurement bias, which allow for hesitation to give socially unacceptable responses, and response bias, which may give perceived desired responses during quizzes and group activities. The implications: if the study were to give the desired outcome, which would be increased sensitivity and empathy in facilitators towards disabled students, these students would have a positive and supportive foundation at an early age, which would lead to an increase in self-efficacy, and this sensitivity could set a standard of positive interaction with disabled students, leading to a prolonged future outcome, which would allow for better jobs, better careers, and better education, as well as better overall interaction in the public sector.